Hi, this is Sarah with Of Course, a show about online entrepreneurs and the success behind their stories. On today's show, we have Lesley Clavijo, online entrepreneur, mother of two kids, marketing expert, and creator of Online Business Buds. Today, we're going to discuss how Lesley created her online business from scratch from her home office. Hi, good morning, Lesley. How are you?
Hi, I'm great. How are you doing?
Excellent. So if you just want to go ahead and give us an overview of what you have going on right now.
Okay, awesome. So we'll go into my backstory a little bit here in a minute, but right now at this time, I have a website by my name, LesleyClavijo.com, and I also host a really awesome online Facebook group called Online Business Buds. And we really focus on talking about marketing techniques, email growth, and really connecting deeper with our audience. So what's the whole purpose behind our business? Because after all, if you're an entrepreneur, more than likely you're trying to help and serve people. And I found with, in my life and in my husband's life and many people I know that are in business, that if you don't love what you do and you're not truly passionate about your purpose, you tend to get really exhausted and want to abandon ship.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So from the very beginning, before you got to be an awesome online entrepreneur and you were just working, mother, things like that, what did life look like for you?
So I actually do not have a background in marketing or online anything. I was an early child care development director. So I worked for child cares. I've pretty much worked in every type of business field. So as far as a personal nanny to a substitute teacher to working in some of the cafeterias, I put on every hat when it comes to taking care of kids. But before I started my online business, I was working as a child care director for a really large center. We had about 250 kids, which, means several hundred more families, and we had a lot of people that we had coming through our doors every day. And my youngest child was 6 months old when he came to the child care center with me. And, he was there all day. So sometimes I would have to go in till 6 and stay till 6, or maybe even later if a parent was running late. And then my older son was in after school care because he's 7 years older than my little one. And so oftentimes he was there till 6, 7 o'clock at night. I remember when my little one was in my own childcare, although he was in the building with me the entire day, I had to crawl on my hands and knees whenever his teacher needed something in her classroom just so he wouldn't see me, because that feeling of knowing that he wanted me and I couldn't be there for him was just gut-wrenching. So yeah, life was busy. My husband is also in retail management, and we pretty much were gone all day, and we were just passing each other on, in the evenings and on the weekends. So it was very stressful. And again, even though my son was in the building, I felt like I didn't see him at all.
So you felt like just kind of stressed out, frustrated that you were missing the younger years of your children's life, things like that?
Yeah, absolutely. Because as a director, you have to be there. And he caught, oh gosh, I can't even remember. I think pneumonia. And the daycare I worked for was for the hospital, and I was literally in his hospital room overlooking the building, being asked by my boss, "When are you coming back in?" And this is a baby that was extremely sick. So, and I know a lot of moms have to work outside of the home, but my passion is, and I truly believe that anybody can start an online business. And so that's really what I'm trying to teach others, because having an online business has been such a blessing to me, and I'm able to be at home and do things like Friday, he has a field trip to the botanical gardens, and so I can just take off and go with him. I don't have to ask anybody. So I'm super passionate about helping anybody that's interested in online business get started and get the word out.
So what was the first step for you in being able to leave your regular business, regular life of daycare into the online world?
So I'm kind of really lucky, I would say, because my husband got a promotion and we moved from one city to the other, and we kind of just decided we outweighed, the pros and cons of me going back to work. The childcare industry is not one of those you're not going to be a millionaire. Let's just put it that way. And
Okay, so as far as building momentum, you started off with really strong success, and then did you have any failures that you had along the way, or was it slow momentum, or what?
Absolutely. So failure is kind of like my middle name. I'm just kidding. But I honestly don't like to call anything failures because to me, they're lessons learned. If I didn't have these lessons, then I wouldn't be where I am today. So I don't ever consider anything a failure, and maybe I should, but I don't because I've learned so much and then I can use that knowledge to teach other people. So like I said, I had a lot of viral traffic, especially to this one post, and it's kind of quirky, kind of funny, but it's a true story. The post was called How to Fix Your Underwire Bra. So when your bra breaks through, you know, you don't want to go shopping for a new bra. And I had a really cool little technique, little tip. And I wrote about it and I posted it online and it went viral. And so when I saw that, I thought, wow, you know, this would be a perfect product. Like, let me turn it into something that, a female can carry around in her purse. If she has a breakthrough or if she's chafing or anything like that, she can pull it out, use it. There you go. So I went through everything, the packaging, got a manufacturer, got everything done. I have all the equipment, in my house to package everything myself. And then I thought, well, I'm going to launch it, let's say that, because my idea of launching back then is totally different than it is now. And let the money roll in. That's what I thought. So my idea of launching it back then was just to write a blog post, and my hundreds of thousands of people that were viewing the do-it-yourself version were just going to jump on the now pre-made kit and buy it. Well, 24 hours goes by after launching the product, and although I had tons of traffic, I made one sale. One sale in 24 hours. And I was like, what in the world?
How are you advertising it?
Oh, I wasn't. I mean, that, like I said, this was like 5 years ago. And for me, I was trying to ride on the coattails of that viral traffic. I thought for sure the viral traffic was going to translate into sales, and it didn't. And that was shocking to me. I had no real way of communicating. I had a Facebook page of probably 20,000 people, and I'd put it on there. I had a very small email list. I'm talking like maybe 100 people, if that. But I never had emailed them because that was unheard of. Nobody emailed their list in the DIY niche. And so when that launch was not successful right away, I was just kind of discouraged and confused. I didn't understand why, with all that traffic, it wasn't translating. I felt like I had a proven concept, something that people wanted, and it was frustrating. So I kind of had to go back to the drawing board and try to study and figure out how people outside of my niche, because like I said, the DIY, blogging, crafting, that kind of industry, we never really talked about email marketing here until recently. And so I started investigating outside of my niche and I call it niche, I'm country, and trying to figure out what the other experts outside of the creative blogs were doing to market. And that's what kind of led me down the path of discovering other forms of connecting with my audience besides just writing blog posts. Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely, 100%. And then is that when you decided that DIY was not like fulfilling and you needed to go into a different arena?
Well, I wish I could say that, but honestly, I am one of those people that's slightly obsessive, and I stick with things probably far longer than I should. I don't give up on much of anything. And so, no, I blogged on my creative blog for 5 solid years. Actually, this year will be my 6th year, and it still exists. It's still there. I just don't blog on it regularly. But I was making income from ads, from affiliate marketing, a little bit from my product because I was featured on national TV. I wasn't featured. My product was featured on national TV. So I was making some income through the creative blog, sponsored post, all things that were kind of reliant on traffic and reliant on things that weren't completely in my control. So I started diversifying, and because I was self-taught, I was able to help other people with things like troubleshooting, little tech issues, and then it kind of just rolled into helping people set up their entire websites and even doing logos and branding design. And so I was making money through blogging and through helping other people get started and figure out their website issues. And I was also, this sounds crazy, there's so many ways you can make money online, and I was kind of doing all of them. And I also was noticed by people in Nashville for a PR company who wanted me to run all their clients' social media. And so, again, because I gained so much traction online, a lot of people were asking me for a lot of different help. So I was making money through all those different revenues, and it was great and overwhelming all at the same time. So I did all of this up until this last year, and then I decided I've got to figure out what I really want to do and what I really love. I had come out with a product called What the Tech. It's an e-course and an ebook. It's not for sale right now because it's going through a big renovation. Like, I've got to redo all technology changes, so everything has to be redone. But I started selling online courses that way and found success with that. I had a very small email list of bloggers and online entrepreneurs, and that was my first real taste of creating online courses. And so that's what's kind of led me down this path now. I found that that's what I am truly passionate about. I love to teach other people how to build online businesses, how to market them. And I finally kind of like had this conversation. I know it sounds weird, but I had this conversation with myself. I'm like, look, just because you're not going to focus on your creative blog doesn't mean that it's a failure, because I don't like failures. A lot came from that. It was literally just this, over the past 10 months that I said, I have to focus on what people are coming to me for. And they're not coming to me to teach them how to repaint furniture or fix a pipe. I mean, I had traffic to that, but people really weren't coming to me for that. They were coming to me to teach them how to start their own online business so that they could have the pleasure of staying home with their family and their children and pursuing, their purpose, like what they're really, really passionate about. And so once I kind of said, all right, Lesley, put the creative block to the side. You don't have to shut it down. You just put it to the side and focus on what you're truly talented at. That's when things really started to pick up momentum. And I encourage anybody that's kind of struggling, they feel like they have kind of their eggs in so many different baskets, to just pick out the thing that they're so super passionate about and pursue that. It doesn't mean you don't have to do the other things, but that should be your main focus, and really put your energy and focus into that. And I promise you, you'll see just a huge turnaround. At least that's what I've experienced.
I cannot agree more. It's so funny. I think any online entrepreneur, when they first begin, it's like, oh my gosh, I could do this. I could do a cooking thing. I could do a makeup thing. Oh, I could do something with girls' hair. And it's like the opportunities are endless. And it's so funny because then it's like trying to bottleneck it. It's like, what's the one thing? So what was the time lapse between quitting your job and beginning What the Tech?
Quitting, I would say 4.5 years. 4.5 years.
Wow.
And here's the thing. It's taken me 5 years to make a significant income that's like that completely replaces, well, no, I'll take that back, because I pulled out my pay stubs from the child care center and I was like, whoa, I'm making way more than I made there. And that doesn't include, the fact that I don't have to pay child care. So, anyways, it took me longer than it probably would take anybody nowadays, because again, and I think we touched on this before, but there were not courses out there that you could just pay for and take and be taught strategy just like within a 6-week period or whatever. Everything I learned, I had to either use Google or YouTube or fumble around in forums, which are so confusing. And so the learning curve was a lot steeper and the path was a lot longer for people that started 6, 7, 8 years ago, and things constantly change. So I know so many people right now get frustrated. Well, I just learned that. Now I have to learn something different. Oh my goodness. At least you have people that can tell you what to do, because we were all a hot mess years and years ago. So yeah, it was just a lot of trial and error, a lot of self-taught. It took a lot longer, but the thing is, now I know what to do and I can teach it, and I can teach it really quickly. And I have students that have gone through my recent program, Infinite Marketing Advantage. We just closed out our 6 weeks of the course, and they're posting in the Facebook group like crazy all the results that they're having. And so I get to take my 5.5, 6 years of experience fumbling around and making mistakes, failures, and teach people how to do this a lot faster. So
Oh
it's
man.
exciting.
Oh, that's awesome. So what is your system now? Do you do like you have your Facebook group? Do you do an opt-in to email list? And do you do like a tripwire, which for people who don't know what a tripwire is, that's, you have an opt-in with an immediate sale to try to get a return on your ad spend. So how do you go about all of that?
So surprisingly, I don't use ads yet. I am going to get into ads because I do know that that is a really great way, and we're talking about Facebook ads here. It's a really great way to gain subscribers that you really don't typically reach. So I am currently going to start Facebook ads. But no, and this is what's kind of encouraging for people that don't have the money to spend on Facebook ads. I've done all this without spending money on advertising. So what I really focus on is creating core content. So a blog post, a Facebook Live on my page, which is then shared into my group, and then a newsletter every week. Those three things are complete non-negotiables to me. So I'm creating those three pieces of content, which all are driving traffic to my email list. So I'll have a landing page that has I have a business plan, a full legitimate business plan with a workbook that goes along with it that people can sign up for. And if I'm doing a Facebook Live, I'm talking about that. I'm telling them to, subscribe, and I have a link up top. If I'm writing a blog post, I'm going to either have a general opt-in or I'll have something very specific to that blog post. Like and we're still going through emergencies here in the States, like the wildfires, but when all the hurricanes were coming through, I wrote a post about preparing your business for emergencies, because a lot of times we don't think about that. Yeah. Like, what are you doing with your, where are your business licenses, and are they water safe, and could you grab them and get them out? You don't want to have to go through all that when you're rebuilding. So I wrote a whole post on that, and I had a very specific checklist for business emergency preparedness that went along with that. So yeah, those are my main techniques. I'm trying to keep it really simple. I'm trying not to overdo everything. You hear Instagram, you hear YouTube, some people use Twitter. I'm not quite sure anybody but the president uses Twitter anymore, but maybe people do. I don't know. No, but my whole point is figure out a couple of different areas where your ideal readers, your ideal audience live and exist, and focus on those. If Instagram is a big place where you can connect with people and you can get them onto your email list, then use Instagram. For me, that's not where my people are right now. It's on Facebook, it's in Facebook groups, it's through Pinterest coming to my blog post. So that's where I'm focusing.
Yeah, so I find it's sometimes hard to find where your people are at. What advice would you give to somebody who's searching for their group?
Well, I think it just depends. Like I have a student in my class who is, she's actually older than me. She's probably in her mid-40s, upper 50s, and no, that made no sense. So mid-40s, early 50s. Can't be both. And she really wanted to branch into teaching people her art that are in their teens and 20s. And she's like, I can't find them on Instagram. I can't find them here. And I'm like, well, you got to keep searching. Like, you've got to put stuff out in different places and kind of see where people kind of gravitate towards. And so I said, well, what about that thing? I sound like an old person, but what about that thing called Snapchat? And I know what Snapchat is. I just am not into it. My son is obsessed with it. My older son is. And she's like, you know what? I'm going to try that. So she got on Snapchat and she started posting, or whatever it is, chatting, snapping, and and it went really well. And she's connecting with, with younger people. And so it's really exciting. But I think you kind of have to figure out I would say start with the age range and where they hang out. And most young people in their early 20s and teens, they're hanging out on Instagram, YouTube, and Snapchat. And then people that are 30s and older, we're really on Facebook. We read emails. We may be on YouTube a little bit, but I would say test, and that's what I always tell people. Test, 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 test. As frustrating as it can be, you have to test, all different outlets. And then when you find out which one works best for you, then I would kind of let the others slide and focus on at least 3. I would say 3 and no more until you're ready to take on, another social media network or another platform.
A lot of people get analysis paralysis when they start learning about business and then they just want to read and learn. And throughout our interview, to me, it sounds like you're really action orientated. Do you feel like you can attribute that to your success, that you're like a doer?
Yeah, I would say that's definitely a huge part of my success. And I think that one of the great things now, like we discussed, is that there are so many courses out there, but at the same time, and ebooks and programs and membership sites, all that stuff, there's so many of them out there, but people get really excited about trying to learn everything at once before they even apply the first thing. So what I do myself, because I am a continual learner, like I have to keep learning, I'll only invest in one program at a time, usually every 3 to 6 months. It just depends on how long the program is. So I've invested in a Facebook course, or not Facebook course, Facebook ads course, I should be more specific. And I'm not going to invest in another course until I'm done with that. And then and if I've mastered that. So let me be clear, like I have to take action on what I've learned. And then I'll be ready to take on something else. What that is right now, I don't know. It might be a YouTube course because I'm really interested in getting into video. But I think it's really important to not move on to another course or another new thing to learn until you've applied what you have obtained from a current course or a current program or however you like to consume information.
Absolutely. I think that's definitely a nugget of knowledge right there, because I hear a lot of the really great experienced entrepreneurs like you say that master it before you move on, because then before you know it, you're cluttered.
Yeah. And I also encourage people to give yourself some, lower your expectations a little bit. I know that sounds crazy because we always want to set high expectations, but I often see people want to start new businesses now really think that this is like something that can be done in 2 to 4 hours. Like you'll see posts all over Pinterest that say, start your blog, start your website in just 30 minutes. No, that's not true. It's not true. Trust me, it's not. It literally probably took me and I'm not going to, again, there are so many better resources out, but it literally took me about a month. This was 6 years ago, fumbling around to set up my website. Because you're learning and you're making mistakes and you're misinterpreting the information that you're reading because you don't have all that scaffolding and that base knowledge prior to. So you have to just kind of like funnel out or block out the noise that everything just takes 10 minutes. It doesn't. And everything's different for each person. We all have different glitches and tech issues and a combination of just, things that happen that may or may not make something take a lot longer than it should have. Like setting up an email marketing system. You want it to take 30 minutes and it takes you 5 days. Yeah. It's just what happens.
Do you ever find yourself almost like not self-sabotage, but like procrastinating or like when you create things like your planners and stuff like that, where you create it and then you're like, I left something out, or I need to redo it, or my branding could be better. And before you know it, you're sitting there in a week and a half and something that you plan on putting out in 12 hours.
No. Honestly, I don't, because I put a fire under my butt, and this is how I do that. I pre-sell a lot of things, which means that I'm selling before I'm even creating it. And I have a date that I better get these things to these people or else. So for instance, I am pre-selling my planner right now, my business blogging content planner. And it's not done. I'm working on it. It has to be done by Monday because these people are getting charged on Monday. And they better have that in their inbox. I did the same with my course. I sold a course that was not even created yet. It was an idea. I had an outline and people bought in, and I said, okay, well, we're doing this. And so it's scary. It's scary as heck. But at the same time, I'm like a chronic procrastinator. I have to have, like in college or in school, like I have to know that something is like coming up in the next whatever 24 hours to be able to get it done. And I've heard other creatives say that too. Like I'm most creative when I'm under the gun or under pressure. And that's really how I work. So
if you were to create a course, you put it out for pre-sale and like 2 people buy it, do you continue and make the course, or how do you go about that?
Okay, so if it were me, I haven't had that happen yet, but I have people that I consult that came to me after they did that. They pre-sold something, they came back, and they had very little sales. And so they pulled the plug. Basically, you have to issue refunds. And then, like I said, you either go back to the drawing board or you come to someone like me and you start looking at your numbers and looking at, your strategy and what you should have done better and what you could do better and how to proceed during the next launch. But absolutely, like if you only sold 3 and your goal was 50, then you kind of have to reevaluate, return the income that you made and move forward. I mean, you can of course release it. I mean, if you're okay with that, you can, but chances are it's not so much the course that you're selling as it is your marketing efforts that probably failed.
Okay. And then I know we're getting close to wrapping up here. So I'm just curious, what softwares do you use that you found have made your business way easier?
So I love ConvertKit, which is my email marketing system. That's the one that I use now and I've used for quite some time. It makes tracking really easy. So if people are clicking on links and they're engaging with different things, it's very easy. And it's also very easy to connect your product to an email sequence. So as soon as someone purchases the product, they start getting the email sequences like, thank you for your purchase. This is what to do next. The other thing is you're really able to segment people into different tags and different groups. And I teach in the Infinite Marketing Advantage how to start surveying every person that comes into your email funnel to figure out what level of expertise they are. It could be levels of expertise. It can also be what their interests are. It just really depends on your business. And so I teach all the tools that you can use to run this type of survey, and then how to use that information. It's called Infinite Marketing for a reason, because you're getting this constant flow of information from your subscribers telling you exactly what they're struggling with, exactly what they want from you. It helps with content creation. It helps with product creation. It's just such a jewel. But anyways, ConvertKit really helps with that whole process. I sell my course on Thinkific. I've used Teachable in the past, which I liked, but Thinkific is a much better price point and has a few more features than Teachable did. I believe one is the payment plan. They both might have them now, but Thinkific is more affordable. I'm trying to think what else. That's really the 2 key components for selling my course. So the course software and then ConvertKit, and all the payment processors are in Thinkific. You just have to connect your PayPal and connect Stripe, which is the credit card processor. And that's really it. I find that a lot of people get paralysis, like we said before, about creating products because they get so scared of the technology and having to do all these things and learn all these things. But you just keep it simple. I taught my students here recently. I said, guys, just write a book in Word and export it as a PDF, and boom, you've got a product. It's not as hard as it sounds.
I couldn't agree more. I was like terrified of creating a course, and then I went on to Thinkific and I was like, it's so user-friendly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, and then lastly, what is your ending piece of advice to beginning entrepreneurs or entrepreneurs who are trying to move online? What would you say?
Oh gosh, advice. I have so much. No, but seriously, I would just say be patient with yourself. Don't compare yourself to others. I'm going to give you a bunch of advice. Don't compare yourself to where other people are, because you could could come in and look at me and think that, oh, she just started last night, because my website is brand new, my newest website, but I've been doing this for nearly 6 years now. I didn't just, snap my fingers and I knew everything overnight. So be patient with yourself. And more than anything, connect with your readers on a deeper level. Just don't assume that what you're putting out is what they want. Ask them what they want and give that to them. So that's really the key to not just finding your purpose, but living in that strength and being able to provide that to others. So like I said, as soon as you start figuring out what you're truly passionate about and how you're able to help people, you'll be a lot happier and a lot healthier in your job than you ever thought could be imaginable.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it so much, Lesley.
Absolutely. Anytime. Thank you.
Okay, sure thing. And we will catch you guys later.